and Tina can take it away.
Good morning, everybody. How are you? Everybody good?
Good morning.
So yes, I am still.
Good morning, Tina.
Good morning. I am still in Florida. I do not have a return date back to Arizona as of yet, probably not until the middle of April. So you guys will see me around at different classes and things like that. Everybody's keeping me very active. And yes, I was at Maddie's open house on Sunday. Those of you that are coaching with me, don't be mad at me. Bonnie was in Tampa, and so I stepped in. It's a $1.2 million listing, and I wanted to make sure she was covered with Lourdes. So, all right. This is a topic that I wanted to bring to everybody's attention because I am sitting here in Florida listening to offers go back and forth and realizing that there's definitely a disconnect in how to get your offers accepted. And I'm listening to things, I'm cringing inside. I'm like, okay, guys, some of you are using some of these techniques, but you don't know how to get yourself to the forefront with the listing agent. And so I brought it to George last week and was like, listen, I really think that we need to do this on the call. You guys know I am an interactive instructor. Okay, so I want you guys to give me feedback. Tiffany and Joe, I'm going to ask you if you see their hand and I don't see it, if you could bring it to my attention, just because I can't see everybody on my iPad. So as we're going through these different things, please, if you have questions, if you have comments, if you're dealing with a scenario and you're like, I don't know how I could have done this differently, please bring it to the forefront because everybody can learn from that. And no question is a stupid question. So one of the things that I'm noticing is that some of you are using acceleration clauses and things like that, which is awesome. But how do you get them noticed? We're going to go over several different techniques today. And the biggest thing is, how do you get your clients to agree to exercise some of these options? Like, how do you get them to agree to offer more than what's actually being asked for the property? How do you get them to agree to an acceleration clause or an appraisal contingency waiver or paying seller closing costs or less of an inspection, or maybe even their earnest money going hard? And we're going to talk about some of those techniques today. But first and foremost, you have to make sure that, number one, they are emotionally involved in the purchase of this home. I'm going to go back to something that we teach at the workshops, and that's how a buyer's appointment should really go. We're going to start there, because if they're not emotionally involved, you're kind of dead in the water with them jumping in with agreeing to other options. So when I'm showing property, and what I teach people when they're showing property, is make sure you have your clipboard for them. Make sure you have your clipboard for you. And as you're walking through a home and they tell you this is a no, because at the end, you should be asking them, is this a yes? Is this a no? Is this a maybe? And that property is on that clipboard. And you're going to do a physical takeaway with them if it's a no. If they say, no, this is definitely not the property for us, this is not the home, then you're going to be like, okay, great, give me your paper. And they're going to be like, what? You need to physically take that paper from them. And because they said it's a no, and this is going to happen one time, I guarantee you, you're going to rip that paper in half and you're going to put it underneath your clipboard. They are going to panic inside. You want them to panic inside. You want them to be like, oh my gosh, she just took my paper. Like, she really just like, okay, so this is definitely a no. And then every property that you go to after that, and you're asking them, okay, is this home a yes, a no, a maybe? You're going to see their face. They're going to be like, they're going to start holding onto their clipboard tight. They're going to be like, well, it's not a no, because they don't want to give you their paper. They don't want you to rip it up. They do not equate in their mind that you have the property on your clipboard that you ripped up too. They don't think about that. They think about that you took it from them, you ripped it. They can't have this property anymore. So now when they're in this home, they're going to really look at it, because they don't want to give you this paper. And they're going to start thinking about all of the things that really they might like about this home that might work for them, because they know that if it's a no, they can't have it. You're taking it away from them. So as they're walking through, they're going to be taking notes. They're going to be really thinking about it. And they're going to be really emotionally considering whether this home is going to work for them. By the time you're done with the property, with this home, and they look at you and they're like, well, it's a maybe.
Oh, what?
Okay, I need you to tell them, look at them and say, okay, why is it a maybe? What do you like about this home? And you need to get them to sell you on why it's a maybe. You need to get them to sell you on why it's a yes, because that's what gets them emotionally involved. If you do these steps every single time, at the end, you're going to have a couple of papers on their clipboard that they need to make some decisions about, some choices. And here's the bottom line. At that point, they've sold you why that home is still on their list and on their clipboard every single time, which means they have emotionally invested into why it's there. That gives you a better fighting chance to get them to come up higher on their offers, because now they're emotionally involved. So I'm going to stop here for one moment, because some of you, I see your faces, you're like, okay, I love that, I can do that. Others of you are like you take their paper and you rip it like in front of them and you put it under your clipboard. So let's stop there for a minute. How many of you on this call, because I know that there's some people on this call that have been to my workshops and they've actually done this technique. How has it worked for you? Is Sasha on here? I can't
Yes, I
see her.
am.
All right,
Hi.
Sasha, tell your story about how you did it the first time.
Yeah, so I had a client who I was showing various properties to, and it was getting a little frustrating. So I used the technique. We went into one of the perfect houses. It was for them, and they were like, no, and they had like a million excuses. So I said, okay, so this is a no. And they were like, yeah, this is a no. So I take the paper and I rip it up. And they were like, their jaws dropped to the floor. I thought I was going to throw up because I've never, I wasn't, this was the first time I was doing it. And they were like, wait, what was that? And I was like, yeah, you guys said this was a no. And if it's a no, there's no reason to still be here. We can go on to the next property. And I had their paper and I put it on their mind. And they were like, but we might like it. I was like, you might? I was like, well, this one's already ripped up. So let's go take a look at the other one and, we'll continue on. We are now finally under contract after 2 months of looking for homes. But it's a technique. Like after that, they were more firm on their decision, whether it was a yay or a nay. And if it was, now after that, there were no more maybes. It was yes, no. And when they had their yeses, they were, they would look through everything and say, this is definitely a yes or no. We have to move on because there's more things here that we can't see and we're not going to move forward with. So it's a technique that, I need to perfect, obviously, because that was my first time ever using it. And I was scared. I don't want to use the term, but I was scared. And I think if you start using it with your clients and you start, being more firm, it'll be less time wasting for you. And that's something that I needed to work on, and I continue to work on. So I'm very grateful for that little tidbit. And you're going to be scared the first time you do it, but if you keep on being forward with your clients, they'll appreciate you so much more. And they'll realize all the work that you're actually putting into, because it's not easy, getting all those homes and making those appointments and, working your life around it. It's really difficult. So when people are just lollygagging,
That's true.
you don't want to take that time.
Well, and it does help you. Absolutely, Sasha. And thank you for sharing your story. So it does actually make them stop and think. It makes them stop and be more aware. Like all of a sudden, they're giving you something and they're seeing their pile get smaller and smaller and smaller. So mentally, psychologically, they can see their list dwindling. And they can see that they have to start really finding some things that they like about some of these homes, because they went from 7 properties on their clipboard to now there's 6, to now there's maybes, to now there's, maybe there's 2 left now because they said no to all of the other ones. And they start to panic inside because they're like, mentally, they're like, what if there's no more? What if these are the only homes I get to see? And they start narrowing it down in their own mind without you narrowing them down, without you telling them how to think or how to feel. So by the time it comes to an offer, they've sold you on why. Why do they want this property? Why do they want to make this their home? And they have sold you on those reasons at that point because you've made them do that every single time. Why it's a yes, why it's a maybe, why is this your home? So now it's time to write an offer. And you sit down with them and you're like, okay, this is what they're asking. Well, I made you, because I always make them walk through the home one more time. After they tell me it's a yes and they want to write an offer, I'm like, okay, I'm going to send you guys through the home one more time together. I'm going to stay over here in the living room and I'm going to call the agent and see if I can get some information. How many offers do they have? Just by me asking that question and telling them that that's the question I'm going to ask, I'm building an urgency in them because they just told me that this is the home. This is the one that they want to put an offer in on. And now I just gave them a mental note of, wait, there might be other offers. Now, maybe you prepped them before this time that we're in a multiple offer situation on most homes. But in that moment where they have emotionally decided that they're going to write an offer on this home and you bring this up to them, all of a sudden their heart sinks into their stomach because they realize, wait, we want this home. There might be other people that want this home too. Okay, so they start to get mentally prepared while you're sending them to go walk through the home again. And you're calling the agent and you're texting the agent because the agent is not answering your phone calls because they already have 10 offers and they're tired of answering their phone. So you're texting, may I ask, how many offers do you have? Can you tell me that? I'm not asking you how much. I just want to know how many offers you have. Can you tell me if any of them are cash? And if you're texting it and you're speaking it into the phone while you're texting it and your clients are walking around the home and they're listening to these questions, imagine the angst that's building inside of them. Like they might have cash offers. They might have more than one offer. Okay, all right. You are building an urgency inside of them that you are not having to state because they hear you texting this verbally or they hear you on the phone with this agent. You want them to hear you because it builds that inside of them where they're going to be a lot more open to what they need to do to get this home that now they are emotionally attached to. When they come back, I don't care if there's people waiting outside to get into this home. I do not care. This is my time with my client. I'm going to be respectful. I may even let them in for a minute while we're sitting on the couch, but I'm going to have my clients, if there is a sofa, come over and sit on that sofa. And the last question I'm going to ask to them before we put this offer together is, okay, you're sitting in the living room. Is this your living room? Is this your home for sure? Can you see yourself sitting here a year from now? Can you see your Christmas tree in this living room? Once I get a yes, okay, we need to step out. We cannot construct the offer in here because they could be listening. So we're going to step out to the car and we're going to put all of this together of what you guys want to put into this offer. And we leave. We're standing outside by the car. This is where this conversation is going down. They are not going home and thinking about it at this point, people. You have them so emotionally invested that your conversation needs to happen right this minute. And this is where you are going to say to them, okay, they are asking $429,900. I talked to the agent. They've got several offers on the table. They won't tell me how many. Or maybe I couldn't even get a hold of the agent, and probably because they're getting so many calls. that they're tired of answering their phone. Think about that statement that I just planted in their head. They're getting so many calls, they're tired of answering their phone. They're not even answering my text. So they're asking for $29,900. What do you want to offer on this home? You're not going to tell them what to offer, guys. You are not. You should not. You need to make them give you a number. Now, if they come in at asking, or at this point, if you know there's several offers on this property and you know that they have the fortitude to be able to offer way more, and they say to you, well, we want to offer $435. Okay, $435. So let me ask you a question. If there's several other offers, and this is very important, guys, right here. If they have several other offers and you're only 5,000 over asking, are you prepared to lose this home? Is that going to be okay with you? Because chances are you're going to lose this home. You're not going to get the bid. And then you shut your mouth, people, and you let them talk and you let them feel the pain of losing this home on their own. So you guys know that I love stories. So we're going to stop right here and I'm going to give you guys a story. Had some clients, met them at an open house. This was just actually just a few months ago. This was in October. I meet them at the open house. This house is not for them. It's not. It's a weird home. I told them that when they walked in the door. You guys know I love ugly homes. So I was making a joke with them. I'm like, okay, you tell me what you think is weird about this home, because I think this is a weird home. They come back. They're like, why are there 2 kitchens? I'm like, I don't know. So we're talking back and forth. We're having a good time. And I'm like, well, would you guys like to go see some homes today when I'm done with my open house? They're like, yes, we would love that. I'm like, okay, I will pick 5 homes for us to go see today. Hopefully there's 5 for us to see. I will try my hardest to find 5. That builds urgency right there, people. We go out, we look at homes. They're very easy to get along with. They like several of the homes we're seeing. I only had to take 1 paper away, just 1. We had 4 more. They were not giving me another paper. They were not. They were bound and determined they were finding a home today. We walk into the perfect home for them. Absolutely perfect. I did everything that I told you guys that I just did. Even there was no couch. So they came back into the living room. They stood there for probably a good 20 minutes, just taking it all in, coming up with plans of renovation. Me not telling them how to feel, what to think, other than I'm going to call the offer, or I'm going to call the listing agent. I'm going to see if we have any other offers on the table. Their face dropped. What do you mean? So, well, Dana, Marcus, there's probably other offers on the table. I know I told you that earlier today. You probably missed it. But now that you found the home that you absolutely love, and you've told me all the reasons why you love this home, I need to make sure that you understand that we've got to come in strong, because more than likely they have other offers. So I'm going to do my best. I'm going to do my best to get this for you. So I told them what the offer, what the price point was. They said, okay, well, we'll come in at that. I look at them like, okay, maybe you're not understanding what I'm saying to you. Dana, I need to ask you a tough question. Are you prepared to lose this home because your offer wasn't strong enough? Are you going to be okay with that? Because I can tell you with absolute certainty, there is not another home in this whole area that has that garage in the back of the house that's going to make a gym for you. So if you're willing to lose that, I'm willing to put in the offer at that. I'm going to give you guys a couple of minutes to talk about that. And I walked away. I came back. They bumped themselves 25,000. No, Tina, we're not willing to lose. No. Do you think that 25,000 more will take it? What do you think? So, well, you know what? We can put in the offer for 25,000 more. It may not appraise for that. So we're going to talk about that in a minute. And you know what? Somebody might even come stronger than that. So we need to talk about that too. Are you guys open to some options to make sure that we get your offer accepted on the home that you love? Yes. Okay. So I'm going to stop there. Questions, bring them on. Chris
I think
and
Jess and Chris have a question.
yep. Who wants to go first? Chris and Daryl, let's go first.
We were going to tell you about our experience with tearing up the tearing up the papers. So if you're past
Go
that,
ahead. Nope, go ahead.
So we're working currently with 2 buyers actively. And the first one that we did this to was the first property that we went out to look at, and her jaw dropped so bad. It was her mom. It was all I could do not to laugh because it was that dramatic of a response. So we've been out with this lady and her mom twice. The first time, the second house after the tear up, she was so committed. She went all in. It wasn't enough, and that's okay, because I'm currently under contract with her now. But we had gone out on Saturday, and the first house it was already her house. It's on her mom's street, which she didn't tell us when she asked to see it. It's the same layout as her mom's house. It's exactly what she's looking for. The second house that we went to, her mom held onto the piece of paper. She still wanted to look at the second house. It was completely wrong. It was functional obsolescence. It's everything. But they didn't want to give me that paper back.
They hold on to it for dear life. They're like, you can't have my paper. You're not taking my paper. No,
Yes.
I want to keep the paper.
she did. There was no way they wanted this house, but they didn't want to give this paper back. So finally,
Well, and
the
I want
mom
to stop you there, Chris, because I got to tell you, when people don't want to give me the paper, but they tell me it's an absolute no, I'm like, well, then I'm confused. Why don't you want to give me the paper if you know it's a no? Why would we still want it to be on your clipboard? Give me the paper. You got to give it to me because it's a no. We're not going to cloud up your maybes and your yeses with no's. There's no reason for that. And I make them give it to me anyway.
Well,
Go ahead,
what we
Chris.
did was the mom tore it up.
We
I'm
made
like-
the mom tear it up.
Well, like,
I
well,
love that.
if you're not going to give it to us, somebody's going to tear it up. And then,
That's even more strong, right? That's like,
yes,
I'm tearing it up.
And then our second set of buyers, they're like the main reason I'm on this call. We're having a really hard time getting an offer accepted for them. We did the same thing, and we're now more cautious. There are some more maybes than there were in the past. Again, we also went out on Saturday with them. Their first house was a quote unquote maybe. And I knew it was all wrong. I knew they didn't want the house. You could tell it was all over her face. Nope, this is not for us. But she was not letting me tear it. It was the maybe. And I'm thankful that you went over, what to do about a maybe and really dive deeper, because that could have really solidified. So thank you for going over that. We'll definitely be using that technique.
Yep, absolutely. Absolutely. All right, Christine, you have your hand up? You're still muted.
Sorry, looking for that mute button. So I have a client who is a young woman looking for a house, first-time buyer, mid-20s, she has enough money to basically do the down payment and closing, but she does not have the financial wherewithal to do the bidding way over, cover an appraisal gap. But the houses that she likes, and she really does, she's good about picking out which one she likes. I don't have an issue with that. What I'm having an issue with is trying to get her to understand how to offer, because we don't really have a lot in our arsenal. So I don't know what to do with her at this point, because the houses that she likes are the ones that already have 20 something offers, and we can't compete with that. There's just no way. So Cal, is there a way for me to try to get her to pick a house that maybe isn't her first choice? Or is that a horrible thing to say? Because I don't know how we're ever going to get her under contract like this.
it's okay. It's okay for her to, you're gonna have to get real with her. First of all, you've spent the time with her to be decently bold. And you've spent the time with her to be able to just get her to be real and say, listen, so if we keep going down the same path over and over and over again, we're not going to see a different result. You are picking the homes that absolutely everybody wants at this point. And unfortunately, they seem to have means that we don't have to get your offers accepted. And you need to put we in there, because that way you're not alienating her, making her feel like less than. Okay. So, you know, we unfortunately, we don't have the means that some of these other people do to get your offer accepted with these types of homes. So maybe it's time for us to start looking at homes that have potential and aren't exactly what you want, because maybe we won't be up against so many people with those homes. Are you okay with us taking a look at that option?
Okay, and that's kind of what I've expressed to her, is maybe we should look at homes that have been on the market for maybe 2 weeks that haven't gotten 20 offers the first weekend they're out there, because if they're already sitting out there and they're not going for whatever that price is, then maybe that's a better choice. You may not love it. It may not be the house that you absolutely love, but at this rate, we're not ever going to find that house and you be able to get into it unless the market dramatically shifts.
But do you understand the difference of how I just stated that and how you just stated that?
Yes, and I would not state it to her like that. And that's why
You've got to make sure. You've got to make sure when you guys are presenting these different things that it's presented as an option and not us telling them what to do. And I don't know exactly how you said it to her. And I'm not saying you didn't do that.
Oh, I'm just saying say it exactly that way at all. I didn't say that to her. But the first house she wanted to offer on already had 20 something offers. So she decided she wasn't going to offer on it.
Okay.
We offered on another house this weekend that had, at the time we put our offer in, 21 offers, and she went in at asking.
Okay.
Only asking, wouldn't go at all over. I've explained the appraisal gap, all of those things, and she can't really overdo it, but she could go up a little bit and then maybe hope that it appraises.
So Christine, let's talk about some of these options that you guys have. Okay, so let's talk about the options where you have a client that really can't do an appraisal contingency waiver because they don't have the excess money to be able to go over in that. Let's talk about the people that don't have a lot of extra time, like they can't give a post-occupancy option or some of these other techniques that we use on a regular basis. Okay, so Christine, I'm going to ask you to mute again just so that it doesn't give feedback. Okay, all right, so here we go. When you have that type of client who does not have excess money, you have certain terms that you can maneuver to make their offer look more presentable. First of all, everybody has to put down earnest money. Everybody. So if you know with absolute certainty and you've had a conversation with their lender and they are absolutely going to get approved on this property, why not let their earnest money go hard after the inspection has been agreed to? So inspection period is over and the inspection has been agreed to by both parties. At that point, go ahead and let their earnest money go hard. Now, we have no idea what this property is going to appraise for, but if you're at where they were asking or just a little bit over, not the end of the world, because you know it's probably going to appraise at this point, okay? But make sure you do your due diligence and do your own market analysis to make sure that what they're asking is not way over what it's going to appraise for. Now, some of you are like, what does that mean? Earnest money goes hard. That means that exactly at the moment that inspection period is over, both parties have agreed to all that has been presented, meaning any negotiations, things being fixed, money being given, whatever the case may be. Once that document is signed, that earnest money gets released to the seller. The biggest concern that sellers have is that they're going to take their home off the market and then they lost all of these other buyers. And at the end of the day, you can get out because of the appraisal and because of the loan maybe not getting approved. So earnest money going hard for the client that doesn't have a lot of extra money, but you know with absolute certainty that they are going to get approved for their loan because their lender has already looked at everything, they've already ran everything through DU, they're ready to go. And it's $2,000 or $3,000. It's not the end of the world. Okay. And let's talk about that. If you really want your offer to be strong, having a higher earnest money is a big deal. So instead of going for the 1% earnest money, maybe you go for the 2 or 3% earnest money to make your offer stronger because you have more skin in the game. But then you've got to make sure that you believe, and I'm talking even if your earnest money is not going hard, make sure that your earnest money is strong. Absolutely 100%. And I will get to your guys' questions on the post occupancy in just a minute. Okay, because I see all those coming across. So earnest money going hard is an option. A shorter inspection period. One of the things that I have done in the past when I have offers out there is, okay, I call my inspection company. Hey, so I'm really going for this offer right now. I really want to get this offer accepted for my client. Can I tentatively schedule my inspection? I know it's Sunday. Can I tentatively schedule it for Tuesday morning? Because I want to make sure that I can tell this agent that if our offer gets accepted, we're doing the inspection Tuesday morning. So I will then text the agent and say, hey, by the way, not only is our earnest money going hard after inspection, but we're lowering our inspection period to a 4-day window because I already know that I can have my inspection and it's already tentatively scheduled Tuesday morning. So I just wanted to let you know we're being proactive in hopes that you're choosing our offer. Now I have a really good relationship with my inspection company. So they're like, sure, I will make sure somebody's there for you. But the bottom line is this, I will lessen their inspection period to 4 days instead of 10 days. Your guys' contracts are crazy here in Florida. 15 days they give you unless you write it in separately. What the heck? I would spit that out and chew it up. Like, what do you mean 15 days? Are you kidding me? We never do less than 7 or more than 7. But still, okay, if I can get it down to 4 or 5 days, that's what I'm going to do because it makes our offer look better. So higher earnest. We already have the inspection tentatively scheduled for 2 days later. We lowered our inspection period. Those are really nice terms even when you're up against cash or anything else. Because believe it or not, yes, people love cash, but at the end of the day, all they really care about is when is the darn thing going to close and is it going to close? So if you're lessening all of your timeframes, that's a huge deal. Another thing is there's a lot of lenders out there that if they're pushed to the wire and they've already got all of the financials, they can get it through underwriting and close as long as you have the inspection and you're willing to pay a little bit more for the appraisal. And let me go through that again. Guys, did you know that appraisals are bid on? So if you're offering more money for the appraisal out there, that's how they get it rushed. And then the chances of an appraiser picking it up faster will actually pick it up and get your appraisal done. Just so you guys know. I know that a lot of you don't know that lenders put all those appraisals into a pool and everybody's at the same amount and you just get put in line. The minute you add an extra $100 to that appraisal or $150 to that appraisal, guess what? It gets picked up like that. And that is the thing that is holding lenders up right now. It's not because their underwriters in most cases can't get to it. It's because the darn appraisers aren't getting the appraisals back. So offer more money to it. Go ahead. See what happens. I have gotten some of my lender deals closed in 18 days because the moment we went under contract, we did our inspection within 2 days. I don't wait for inspections anymore. We did the rush order on appraisal, but added an extra $100 on top of the rush fee. We had that appraisal back in 7 days from contract. Already through underwriting, closed on the 18th day. How are we any different than a cash offer at this point then? We're not. All they care about is when it's going to close. That's what they care about. So you have to think outside of the box when it comes to these things. How do you, let's see, Jesse, speak up for just a minute. What did you want to say just now?
Hey,
Because I
how do
can't
we,
read all your questions.
yeah, how do we communicate to the lender that that's what we want to happen and that the buyer has agreed to pay extra? How do
You
we,
call your lender
okay,
and you say, hey, so we want to throw more money on top of the appraisal to get it picked up immediately because I need you to close this thing as quickly as possible. If
Great.
I'm going to get this, then I need assurance from you that we're going to get that appraisal in and we can close in 3 weeks. That's what we need. Daryl's putting his hands up. Daryl, speak. He's like,
Love
yes.
this. I love this. This is great. Gold, pure gold about that, paying a little more for the appraisal. So thank you.
Absolutely. My
Loving it.
pleasure. And we do it all the time, guys. In Arizona with my team, this is what we do. This is how we structure deals. Okay. Now we're going to dive into the meat and the bones of everything. You guys are asking me about a post occupancy. You walk into a home, your people, they want this home, but you can tell the sellers have a ton of stuff, a ton. Well, you know what? You tell those people, hey, guess what? We want to give you the time that you need. So would it help if we gave you an extra 2 weeks to move out after we close a post occupancy? And by the way, we're not even going to charge you rent for that. Guys, your people's mortgage payment doesn't start for 30 to 45 days. Who cares if you give them 2 weeks? Think about this. Really think about this. You're giving them 2 weeks. They think you're the golden child now. You're like, their mortgage payment doesn't start for 45 days. So who cares? Give it to them for free. Now, let me tell you this though. This is a word of caution. When you offer a post occupancy, you need to make sure that there is money held in escrow from the seller for any damages that may be caused to the property. You also need to make sure that there is a per day penalty for any time that they take after that date that they are supposed to move out. I like the number of $200 because I guarantee you right now, if they're facing $200, they're going to get out on time. And that money goes towards the money that's held in escrow in case there's any damages. So it just starts getting tacked off. I like the number of $5,000 being held back, especially if they're getting a month post occupancy or whatever. But I will take as little as a $1,000, a $2,000 earnest money or a hold back in escrow for that. Okay, and you just need to make sure that it shows up on your settlement statement that it's being held. Okay, so let's open up questions about that. Go ahead. Mateo, you have a question.
Yes, hello, good morning, everybody. Yes, I have a question. So I recently sold a property with that contingency where we offer them to stay after the closing, but it's really interesting. We did the normal Florida residential contract for them to stay after with $0. How do I implement everything that you just said? Who is going to keep? How do I write that for them to give me money for escrow and that policy of $200 per day after if they stay longer?
It's a post occupancy agreement that's attached to the purchase contract. Now, here's what I also want to make clear. You do not give that to the lender. They don't want to see it. Okay, let me be very clear on that. Lenders do not want to see post occupancies. The title company can hold that money back in an escrow holdback.
Okay.
Okay, so when they move out, both parties agree that they're moving out. Title can release what they've been instructed to release with both parties' signatures.
I see what you mean. All right, perfect. Perfect. Thank you very much.
Yep. Okay. All right. Are we clear on the post occupancy, guys? Does anybody else have any questions about that option? We're good? Okay. Oh, wait, Paolo, go ahead. No, you're good? All right.
Sorry, I was just turning on my light. Sorry.
And I'm sorry I missed you last week when you were here, darn it. So, all right. Now the next option is, of course, the appraisal contingency waiver. Well, people are like, oh no, I can't instruct my clients to do an appraisal contingency waiver. Okay, that's your own limiting belief. Get out of your way, get out of your client's way. If they want to pay more for a property than what it's worth, let them do it, because it's up to them. It's not your money, it's theirs. If they want a home that bad where they're willing to pay more than what the property is actually worth, they have the right to do that. So stop getting in their way. Let me be clear on that. It is not your money. It is not your choice. Stop talking them out of something that they want to do, as long as they completely understand it. And by the way, you guys have a form that I make my clients sign. My entire team makes them sign it, that I drew up. And it explains an appraisal contingency waiver. It explains what that means. My clients have to check mark which options they are exercising, and they have to sign it, and it goes into their file, because I don't have control over what my team is telling them, and I don't have control over what they understand. So by them signing that paper and saying that they read it, that protects me, it protects my agents, and it makes it very, very clear what they do understand, because they've read it, they've had to sign it. So you guys all have access to that. I give that out every single time with every single buyer that we have, and every single offer that they write, they have to give me a new one of those forms, because lo and behold, their offers keep getting stronger. All they have to do is lose one property and they're fully in. All of a sudden they're check marking everything on that sheet, saying, yes, let's do it all. We need to do it all, because we're never going to get our offers accepted. That's how it works. So the other thing that you can use other than the appraisal contingency waiver is, and you're worried about the appraisal, why not offer to pay for some seller closing costs? Why not? Then it has nothing to do with the appraisal. Now your clients need to understand that means that they're paying for their own closing costs, and then they're actually paying for some of the seller's closing costs. Now you can put a limit on it, people. It's okay. You can say they're willing to pay $3,000 of seller closing costs. Now think about it. You stack this up. Okay. All right. So we are going to do a 4-day inspection, 5-day inspection. I already have the inspection covered. We already know we can have it Tuesday morning. Okay. We're going to go ahead and put the appraisal contingency waiver in there, and we're going to put a limit on it. So we're willing to go $15,000 over appraised value, because that's what my clients are okay with. And by the way, those of you with EXP has specific verbiage that's been done by an attorney. That is awesome. If you don't have it, email me at tina@tinavaliant.com and I will send it over to you, because I just had somebody exercise it here in Florida. But you can put a limit on that. And then you say, oh, and by the way, our lender is willing to close in 3 weeks, 21 days, because we're going to put a rush on that appraisal, and it's going to get done in time. And they already have all the financials. It's already been run through DU, so we're good to go. And by the way, we're going to go ahead and pay $3,000 of your seller's closing costs as well. When you write an offer that strong, holy cow, what? Now, somebody just said they have a question, but I want to make sure I go over with you guys how you make sure that the listing agent who just got 30 offers sees all of that. Because we need to talk about that. How do you get their attention without just trying to get it in text or phone call, right? So who had the question that just said, I have a question right now? Anybody?
I do.
Okay.
Hi. When would you want to use an escalation clause versus the appraisal?
Contingency waiver?
Yeah.
I do them hand in hand, guys. Those of you that don't know what an acceleration clause is, I use an acceleration clause. Now, here's something that I want to be very clear on. How I write my escalation clause does not bind my clients to the escalation. And for those of you that don't know what an escalation clause means, it means that any offer that comes in, my clients have the right, and I want you to hear me clearly, my clients have the right to go 2,000 over ask or over highest offer with proof of offer, 5,000 over highest offer with proof of offer, whatever your clients agree to, they have the right to do so. The agent on the other side doesn't see they have the right. All they see is they're willing to go 5,000 over highest offer with proof of offer. but it does not bind my clients to saying yes. And I want to make that very clear. So I will use the escalation clause every single time because my clients are not bound to it, but it does get me callbacks. And I use it in conjunction with the appraisal contingency waiver. Because, okay, my client has an appraisal contingency waiver. They're willing to go 2,000 over highest offer with proof of offer, and they're willing to close in 21 days. Oh, and by the way, they already have that inspection scheduled. Okay, these people are serious. Oh, and wait, let's not forget, they're also willing to let their earnest money go hard after the inspection has been agreed upon. What risk do these people have at this point to accept your offer? If your clients really want this home, the seller really doesn't have any risk at this point. Your offer is just as good, as not better now, as any cash offer that they're going to get. That's how you make it happen. So, is it Krista?
Hi, Tina, how are you? Yes, I actually have a comment here in Florida because I use the escalation clause post-closing occupancy all the time. And in Florida, with the escalation clause, there is a paragraph in there that the listing agent has to give you the highest bona fide offer. You know, if they choose to escalate and give you the winning and be you the winning offer. So it is in the contract that they do see it, that they do have to provide that to you. Having said that,
Krista,
a lot of agents
and I said that in my escalation clause, it clearly states with proof of highest offer. Yes, but they only have to give me the first page to show me what that offer is. They don't have to give me the whole offer. Okay, but go ahead.
But a lot of agents, you know, some of in my team think that just because you have the escalation clause, it's going to get picked. It doesn't. It doesn't seem to be only about price. You need to be able to do the best terms as well. Because I did lose one where the buyer, you know, we were the highest offer, but the buyer who won completely waived the inspection. So, and that was $20,000 below my highest. So there you go.
And guys, you can waive inspections, but that is risky. I never, ever, ever tell my clients that, you know, well, you guys can waive inspection. Okay, if they lose that house because they wanted to do an inspection, even though they're going to do it in 1 to 2 days, then that's not the right home for them, because I am not going to put my name of approval. And if they are adamant that they want to waive an inspection, guess what? They're going to have to send me a letter that they have signed saying that I advised them to have an inspection and they chose not to, because I am definitely putting that in my file. So that is 100% like, we're not waiving inspections. I do not advise that. Okay. Steve, did you have something you wanted to say? No? Okay, you're good. All right, let's talk about, because we're running out of time, I need to talk about how do you get your offers looked at? I need some thumbs here. How many of you are listing agents that have had multiple offer situations on your listings? Yes. Is it frustrating to have to go into every single email and click the contract just to see what all the terms are and scroll down when you have 30 of them? It's annoying. Wouldn't you just like to know when you open the email if it's going to go into the definite possibility or the no? Wouldn't it make your life easier? So here's the thing. You construct an email. Don't give them a whole big long story about your buyer, because those days are done. Okay, most states don't even allow them. What you can say is, my buyers are very motivated. They love the home. And because of that, we have presented some amazing terms in this offer. I'm going to bullet point them for you so that you keep us top of mind. And then you're going to go down. You're going to bullet point in the email, purchase price, COE. Okay. You're going to bullet point inspection, period. All of the things that are pertinent to the terms of the contract. And then you are going to bold acceleration clause. You are going to bold appraisal contingency waiver. You are going to bold paying seller closing costs, offering post-occupancy agreements. So the terms, the normal terms are going to be regular. The ones that are most important, you're going to bold those. You're going to make sure that they're bullet pointed in your email body. And then you're going to text that agent and you're going to say, I know you're slammed. I just sent you an offer. I bullet pointed everything in the email for your convenience. Please let me know what we need to do to make this happen. Then you're going to text them later on that day. I'm not asking you how much your highest offer is. I'm only asking if I need to up hours. And by the way, do you think an extra 10,000 will take that? Let me know what your thoughts are. Don't tell me how much your offers are. Just tell me if you think that'll work. And then a couple of hours later, you're going to text again, hey, just staying top of mind here. By the way, we have our inspection tentatively scheduled for Tuesday morning in the event that you choose our offer. We're hoping you do. Just being proactive here. And then a couple of hours later, man, I bet you've had a rough day. You haven't even responded to me. That's okay. I understand where you are right now. I just want to make sure I'm top of mind. I want you to know I'm really easy to work with. I'm going to make this a really smooth transaction for you. And I'm going to check in with you tomorrow and see where we are. And then I'm going to call them the next morning. Are you exhausted? I bet you are, aren't you? Yep. Do you need me to send you over a Starbucks? You doing that open house again? Let me send you over a Starbucks. Go ahead and Uber them. Uber Eats some breakfast at their open house. See what happens. Okay, it doesn't have to be anything expensive. Coffee and a muffin. I don't care what it is. Stay top of mind. Even if you have to drive over there, you know they're at an open house and say, I just had to come over and meet you. I bet you're exhausted. I brought you some coffee. They're gonna be like, what? Really? Yes, absolutely. I just wanted to say that my clients are really, really hopeful. So be honest with me here. How high do we need to come to make sure that they get this? I don't want them to be heartbroken again. You've earned the right to ask these questions. You brought them coffee to their open house. Do it. Make friends with these people. Make relationships with these people. Empathize with what they're going through. I know some of you that are not listing agents are like, really? How big of a freaking deal is it that they got 30 offers? Okay, let me tell you something. When you get 30 offers, you can sit here and tell me that it's not a big deal because you're sitting there creating spreadsheets for your clients. You're trying to figure out which ones are conventional and FHA and cash and blah, blah, blah. And the last thing you want to do is counter these people. So guys, make sure that you're not asking for a home warranty. You're going with the title company. Now here you guys, your sellers get to pick the title company. In Arizona, the buyers pick the title company. It's the weirdest thing. So let me tell you something. I have to write whatever the seller chooses in Arizona, which seems right to me, right? But everybody else is like, but it's a buyer state. Who cares? If I'm going to get my offer accepted because I chose their damn title company, that's what I'm going to do. I'm going to choose their title company because it's going to make it easy and they don't have to counter me on anything. Make sure that you ask them what terms are most important. Do you think that it would help your clients if they had a 2-week post occupancy to give them time to move out of the home? Because if so, my clients are open to that. Should I write that in? Have conversations, make relationships. You may even make a friend out of these agents. All right, I'm going to open it up.
Hey,
You guys
Tina.
have 3 minutes.
Tina,
Yes.
how are you?
Fred, I'm going to see you in 3 weeks.
Yes, ma'am. And I'm gonna get my promotion started, I promise. I've got 250 books to figure out what to do with. Anyway, this is such an important topic, and I've got a 9:30 hard start here. I mean, hard stop. But yeah, right on. And the number one thing is relationship with the listed agent, try and get some information. To go back to Krista's point, on the inspections, there's a number of people waiving inspections here. One of the things that if I were active, and especially showing in the higher end that I used to work, is that if I had someone today out actively looking at a property that's so competitive, I would tell them ahead of time, I'm very comfortable. Look, a house is bricks in Florida is, you know, if it's, as long as it's not a frame house or something, but CVS, you know, it's got a roof. You can tell if there's leaks, you can crawl on the attic, you do all these kinds of things. You know, I wouldn't have any problem just saying to someone, hey, this is a risk, of course, but if you want the house, and it's kind of weighing that, right? But if it's really concerning to any of you to do that, like it's concerning to you, Tina, is what I would do is I would say to that buyer, hey, look, we're going to maybe have to waive our inspection because that's what we're going to be competing with. So if you have someone that you trust that's in the construction business, or that's a contractor, that's a handyman that you would trust, you know, I just had a conversation with someone last night. A friend of mine said, hey, call Fred DeFalco, he can help you. He's lost 5 houses. Not a big deal. He's buying a $180,000 to $250,000 house, but he says, well, you know, I think I may have one, but you know, the AC and the windows are not hurricane. I said, wait a minute, our houses are going up between 1% and 2% a month. What are you thinking? What are you thinking? He said, well, it seems over. I said, look, you know, what is overpriced? So, anyway, so and I love what you're saying. You got to think outside the box. And so, if you're going to be competing against no inspections, then you better be ready for that as well. Or otherwise, you're going to be like these people last night, I think, on the 5th or 6th place. So, anyway, thank you so much for what you do. Thank you for giving so much. This is such an important topic. We can't do enough of this, for sure.
Absolutely. Thank you, Fred. All right. So some of you are asking some questions here. Let me go back to, let me see here. There was one. Earnest money going hard. What does that mean? That means that earnest money is put in within a couple of days of going under contract. Okay. After the inspection, if you verbally put it in properly, as soon as that property goes through the inspection, everybody agrees to what repairs need to be done, no repairs need to be done, how that's going to work. Everybody signs off on the dotted line that everything is good. What hard means is that that money is no longer held in escrow. It gets released to the seller and is now their money, and it is non-refundable. I hope that answered the question. That is why you need to make sure that if they're getting a loan, that lender is absolutely certain that they are going to be, that they're going to be approved. Tiffany and Joe, did you put that document in chat? Okay, and you can add to it. I think we gave it to you in a Word document. If not, you guys can always email me, tina@tinavaliant.com. All right. Everybody also wants to know, where am I going to be training? What's going on? So I wasn't really going to talk about this today, but I will. So we are going to be in West Palm Beach for the 2-day workshop on the 22nd and 23rd of March. You can find all of my events on Eventbrite by searching Tina Valiant or Relationship Real Estate. We will be in Orlando. Yay, we're coming back on April 4th and 5th. We will be in Melbourne, which ironically is not an EXP event, which could be really beneficial to everybody. And that will be on April 11th and 12th. Anybody's welcome. And please, guys, understand, I do not speak about brokerage at any of my events, even though I am with EXP. I leave that up to all of you. So use my events for agent attraction, bring people to help them grow, show them what we're all about. But I leave the EXP explanations to all of you. I don't promote myself or recruiting or anything like that. Okay. You guys always have access to me. If you email me, I will email you back. If you have questions, I will help you. We are all in this together. Doesn't matter who you are or if you're with GPS or not. We are all real estate agents just trying to get by and get through this crazy market. So it's been a pleasure as always. And I look forward to seeing all of you in the next month.
Thank you, Tina.
Love you, Tina.